most people in St. Louis and outside of St. Louis know they're going to be there every year.
There aren't very many teams that can lose an Adam Wainwright and can lose some of the other people they've lost on this staff to go down for 2 or 3 or 4 games, but then still have the best record in baseball and still doing what they're doing. I don't think we've seen this anywhere in baseball in the last 20-something years. It's
pretty unbelievable that they can just take things in stride like they have. Obviously you're not going to be able to replace an Adam Wainwright, but Wainwright goes down, and here comes Jaime Garcia, suddenly healthy out of nowhere, pitching pretty well. Adams goes down, and Mark Reynolds, maybe not a perfect everyday player, but a pretty good situation when you can bring a guy off the bench to fill that spot. Your cleanup hitter goes down. Well, we'll just bring in a guy like Mark Reynolds who has as much raw power as anybody in the game. That's what the consistency allows you to do, is to build that depth and not always be searching for the answer, just searching for compliments each offseason has really helped them to just be dealing from that position of power each offseason.
It really, they have the best record in baseball, they're the best home record, and in a sense, I don't want to say they're kind of doing it with mirrors, but you've got Holiday, and you don't have Hayward performing up to what people thought he was going to do. Offensively, there's sort of no real stars on this team.
Yeah, I agree. Hayward's been a lot better of late, but he's definitely not, I don't want to say definitely, but he's perhaps not the player that people thought he was when he came up, and certainly that first month at the Cardinals was a little disappointing considering what they gave up to get him, not to mention how well Shelby Miller's pitched in Atlanta. But I agree with you. That lineup's a lot more about consistency. It's nothing like what we saw in the early 2000s with those Pujols, Edmonds, Roland teams. There's not those big boppers in the middle. They just have consistent players. It's a cliche, but it's true in the Cardinals sense. You hear the term professional hitter thrown around with a lot of their guys, and I think that's an apt description for the Peraltas, the Holidays, certainly the Matt Carpenters, even the Molinas of the world. They're just going to give you good at-bats top to bottom. That consistent lineup's what kept them going.
You still have to give Jeff Luhnow credit for not maybe the whole team, but a lot of this team, because a lot of his draft picks are still sort of, now coming through. He's sort of running out of draft picks, but he hasn't been here the last, 3 years or so. But you still have to give him credit for a lot of the talent that has been developed. Now he goes to Houston, and he's got them, so the 2 best records in baseball have been built by Jeff Luhnow.
No doubt. We were just talking about that in our meeting a few minutes ago for this morning's show. They had a kid last night pitch, Lance McCullers. Dad actually pitched in the majors as well. They drafted him a few years back. And the thing with him was, they had the first overall pick that year. They didn't go the way that people thought they would. They went with a kid named Carlos Correa, who was a little bit more affordable, and now 3 years later turns out to be one of the best prospects. But what that allowed them to do was they saved a little money there, drafted this kid McCullers in the second round. It was a very Luhnow-esque kind of, big picture, hedge fund manager type approach. Allocate your assets, the whole portfolio, not just the top end. That whole kind of thing, which has been his calling card. And now here they are with the best record. McCullers pitched a complete game last night. He's pretty much doing it again. He's ahead of schedule. Sports Illustrated had a cover a few years ago, Astros 2017 World Champions. So he's 2 years ahead of schedule there. And they're on their way to the playoffs this year, it looks like. They're pretty legit. People seem to be buying in after about a quarter of the season. But it's pretty hard to argue at this point with the Jeff Luhnow model.
Yeah. Also, James Shields, the star of the World Series last year for the Kansas City Royals, was sort of the last pitcher sort of signed in free agency. He's now 7-0.
Yeah, he's been great. And as good as the Royals have been, their starting rotation has not been good. I believe there's only been one team in baseball history that's ever won the World Series while their starters averaged the fewest innings per start in their league, and that's where the Royals are at right now. So as good as they've been, that Shields calling card is a bulldog that's going to give you at least 200, usually 220, 230 innings a year. So they might have to make a move at the deadline. Shields looks like he was right all along with his agent making somewhat of a stink this offseason, that why is this guy not being signed, et cetera, et cetera. The Padres, look like they got a really good deal there with Shields.
Yeah, all right, good. All right, so that's Keith Costas, ladies and gentlemen. Where are you now? Are you at work, or are you still on the New Jersey Turnpike somewhere?
Oh, no, I'm at work. That's one of the best things about this early schedule is no traffic, so no New Jersey transit for me. It's just a quick drive in. I am in lovely Secaucus in the studios here.
And that's part of your contract. You have to say something nice about Secaucus, New Jersey all the time, right?
Absolutely. It's an easy thing to do. It comes naturally to most of us.
Keith, have a good trip. When you come to St. Louis, stop by this studio, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, McGraw, thanks.
You got it. Keith Costas with us, who is Major League MLB TV producer, and you got it. He gets great baseball information every Thursday here with Keith Costas. 7:14 traffic, weather, sports next on KTRS.
It's that time of year where you don't know if you're going to turn on the air